Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And that must mean that I am Professor Robert E.G. Black, and this is the Groundhog Day Project.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
It's a thing where the same day keeps happening.
Time.
I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd.
The last revision is what counts, apparently.
Minute 12 is nothing but Phil and Ned, and it's great. We ended minute 11 with Ned saying to Phil, I dated your, and we come in mid-sentence here, sister, married Pat a couple times until you told me not to anymore. Which Phil should remember that, unless he did that a lot. What was Mary Pat like? Did she date or try to date a lot of guys and Phil was very protective of her? Or did she not like Ned and wanted out of that relationship and Phil was actually being a good brother? I think with Phil it was probably a bit of both. Maybe she wanted out, but also he was eager to go tell this guy. She was like, yeah, Ned's a bit much. And I made a mistake getting together with him. And Phil's like, I got this. So he went and told Ned, stop seeing my sister. Mary Pat is out. Leave her alone. And it probably took a couple tries. Because you can see Ned's a little pushy. Ned says, well, and Phil, he's trying to play along. He's trying to be nice. He says, Ned Ryerson? As if he remembers. But maybe he remembers Sandy Ryerson more. If you know who I'm talking about, you'll know why. Sandy Ryerson is Stephen Tobolowsky's character on Glee, which I said in the blog because I don't think anything in that show contradicts it, that Sandy and Ned are brothers. They're twins. And so, actually it's a little weird then that Ned doesn't mention he's a twin. And he did the whistling belly button trick when maybe his brother, maybe he doesn't want to talk about Sandy because Sandy was actually in the Glee Club and was a singer and he actually won an award at that same talent show. Oh, that's so sad for Ned. See, I can still make up stuff about these things. This movie is still new, even as many times as I've seen it. And this time, correctly this time, because Phil has gotten something, Ned says, bing! And Phil is being dismissive, but he's also, this is interesting, something I noticed from this time, because he says, bing! So, did you turn pro with that belly button thing, Ned, or what? And he's being sarcastic, he's being dismissive, but also, he's asking what Ned does for a living. He's taking an interest. This is not how you deal with Ned, and he should know that if he remembered Ned and him going out with Mary Pat all those years ago. Now Ned was too much. He should know that from his fans. You don't ask a question unless you know you have time to wait around for the answer. And Phil is trying to get away from him. But, notably, unlike later with Nancy Taylor, where Phil says, I gotta go do this report, and he's using his job as a brag to get her attention. Here, he doesn't. He started with, thanks for watching. He's assuming Ned is a viewer. But he's not telling Ned. He's got an easy way to get out of this conversation. I have to be over there. I gotta do a report in a few minutes. And Ned would just get out of his way. Probably say, oh, can we hang out later? As he does ask about dinner in this minute. But he would do it sooner, and the conversation would be over sooner. But Phil doesn't want to give information out. He doesn't want to tell Ned anything. But he does ask, and that's a mistake on Phil's part. It's him, he can't help but be charming, even when he's trying to get rid of someone. He asks a question, and all that is going to get you from Ned is more conversation. And Ned says, no, I sell insurance. Phil says, what a shock. Which is funny, because he doesn't remember Ned from high school. He just knows Ned from this conversation. But is like, no, this sounds like an insurance salesman. He just is talking, and trying to find out about your life, make you remember him, connect with him, so that you will buy something. Which does work. Phil buys insurance. Later tonight. And that's on the final loop, which means it sticks. So, good job, Ned. You are good at your job. And Ned gets right into it. Do you have life insurance? Because if you do, you could always use a little more. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? Right. Barking like a dog over here. Ned's coming on strong. Too strong. And Phil has a comeback I love here because he doesn't give explanation. He just says, Ned, I would love to stand here and talk with you, but I'm not going to. See you. And he walks away. He doesn't get away, though, because Ned follows him, but I love this line, because it is so, he's just, nah, I'm going to go. It's like, what is that movie where the person says, I just remembered that you're boring and I have feet, and they walk away from someone. I can't remember the movie. Phil walks away, and Ned is not going to let him. Hey, that's all right. I'll walk with you. And he walks with him. You know, whenever I see an opportunity now, I charge it like a bull. Ned the bull, that's me now. You know, I've got friends of mine who live and die by the actuarial tables, and I say, hey, it's all one big crapshoot anywho. Tell me. And I love how he says tell me, because he puts his little hand move, and it's just like so quick, like he's interrupting himself. Tell me, have you ever heard of single premium life? Because I think that could really be the ticket for you. And he turns toward Phil now, puts a hand out and touches him. God, it is so good to see you. What are you doing for dinner? Now, in the movie, we know nothing about Ned's life. In the stage musical, we do know that Ned was married. And I say was because his wife died. That's why he sings a really sad song in the musical. And it is a wonderful song. But this Ned, it doesn't contradict it, so I think we can buy into it that Ned is married. He is not. Also, there is the questionable scene I have a problem with, but most people find hilarious, when Phil hugs Ned later and says, I don't know what you're doing later, but what can you, oh my God, why am I forgetting dialogue from Groundhog Day? I don't know where you're going, but can you call in late? Is that what he asks? Oh, where it seems like Phil is purposely playing on the idea that Ned is going to be homophobic when he hugs him, and he's getting rid of him that way. I think that late in the movie, Phil shouldn't be doing that sort of thing. He should be being nicer about it. But I think it does confirm here that this is not Ned as, say, a gay man coming on to Phil because he likes him. Or a bi man. We don't need bi erasure here at the Groundhog Day Project. This is Ned, a friend from high school, who probably thought they were friends back then. And he wants to catch up. But Phil says, in response to what are you doing for dinner? Something else. It's been great seeing you, Needlehead. Take care. And he goes to step off the curb into the icy water, and that will have to wait for minute 13. So what do we get from Ned here? We'll see him briefly at the beginning of the next minute, and we'll see him more later in the movie, of course. Multiple times. Part of the small town, part of what Phil hates about his job, about his life, is that he thinks he needs to be in the big city. And Pittsburgh's not big enough. And Punxsutawney is even smaller, so it's definitely not big enough. Cleveland wasn't big enough for Phil. Pittsburgh isn't big enough for Phil. Punxsutawney is an insult. And that he goes to this small town and finds that someone he knew from high school is there is just adding, I was going to say insult to injury, but I just called it insult. Adding injury to insult or insult to insult. I don't know how you want to phrase it, but it's making it worse. So Phil is he's going to cross over into the town square feeling like crap, feeling like he was right about this town, and it is a horrible place to be right now. The extra element then being, right, as we go in from minute 12 to minute 13 as he steps in that icy water. One extra injury, one extra insult to just make this day worse. And it's like 7 a.m. You can kind of understand a bit of why Phil doesn't like it. And that's good. The movie's putting us in his position a little bit. Ned is pushy, and chances are you wouldn't want to go have dinner with him either. I'd love to have dinner with Stephen Tobolowsky. I've met him, and he's nice. And he is a great storyteller. Don't think his podcast has new episodes these days, but his podcast had great stories in it. I've read at least one of his collections of stories that he published. And if he wants to be on the show, Stephen, love it. Love to get you on here. But otherwise, he is a great character actor who, when he shows up, he's going to give you something interesting. And Ned is interesting. Ned is memorable. And the movie needs that. We're minute 12. We're still figuring out what is this movie and is it going to be good. And it's giving us interesting characters. Mrs. Lancaster was a cute old lady who's nice and polite. And Ned is a pushy guy who we have a feeling is going to be a force to be reckoned with later. And we'll find out later. That's all I got for minute 12. Till next time.
Knew you were going to say that.
This has been a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drops Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
What is wrong in the end which never comes? Or which comes again and again, lapping, like waves.
Since the Big Bang set everything in motion, everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is. Particles unfolding the way they're destined to.
How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, you know Groundhog Day is not a documentary.
Remember when Groundhog Day was just a movie?